Greetings and welcome to Global Speakers Talk, where visionaries and changemakers unite to spark real transformation. This isn't just another platform, it's a movement where groundbreaking ideas take flight and powerful voices shape tomorrow's reality. Hi, I'm JB Herrera and I'm the CEO of Insight Driven Business. And today we're diving into the metaverse and metaverse leadership skills. You know, as we witness an unprecedented shift towards digital-first environments, we're exploring how leaders can master the delicate balance between human connection and technological innovation in the metaverse. Now, this resonates with my mission personally, to empower people to amplify their natural brilliance through technology. We're standing at an extraordinary moment when human ingenuity and digital innovation converge, creating an unprecedented opportunity for collaboration and growth. So today, we're going to unlock the secrets of leading effectively in this new frontier. You'll discover how immersive technologies and global connectivity are revolutionizing leadership, but most importantly, how to harness these tools to inspire and unite teams across virtual boundaries. What truly energizes me is seeing how the technologies can enhance our most valuable human traits: creativity, empathy, and meaningful connection. Now, in my journey, I've held one firm truth, and that is technology should elevate our human potential, not diminish it. When we thoughtfully embrace immersive technologies, we can create environments where collaboration knows no bounds, where diverse perspectives unite to tackle complex challenges, and where leadership evolves into something extraordinary. So by the end of today's summit, you'll walk away with more than just concepts. You'll have practical, actionable strategies that lead confidently in the metaverse. So we're not just preparing the future of leadership, we're actually shaping it today. So let's embark on this journey and transform ourselves and our leadership skills into the metaverse. Our first speaker today is Michael Economides. He's a high-performance coach and an international speaker and author renowned for helping CEOs, entrepreneurs, and high achievers reach new levels of success through mindset, fitness, and business accountability. Drawing from his own remarkable journey, including overcoming the life-threatening challenge of 47 blood clots in his lungs, Michael is a firm believer that mindset is the key to overcoming adversity and achieving lasting success. As the founder of the Platinum Mindset Group, Michael specializes in empowering leaders and teams to break through barriers, develop unshakable mindsets, and transform challenges into opportunities for growth. His coaching style is direct, results-driven, and grounded in real-world experience. So please, let's welcome Michael to the stage. Michael, welcome.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Michael Economides, like you said, with Platinum Mindset Group. I'm a high-performance coach. Today, I'm talking about the metaverse leadership, which is completely different from me in leadership. So it still works the same way. You know, you still need to lead as a leader, but it's a different world today. So I'm going to get straight to the point. Leading today isn't just about managing people anymore. It's about managing and commanding presence in the spaces. So you're not just one-on-one anymore in person. You're not in front of your leaders. You're not in front of your team, in your job, in your career. It's different now. You're sitting at a desk. You're in a metaverse where everybody comes into a virtual background, a virtual boardroom. It's not just virtual. You know, it's a new marketplace, new boardroom, new everything. So your influence and your leadership is going to be a little different. It's way different for me. So I'm not used to this. I'm getting used to it more and more, but it's a different way of leading. It's a different way of connecting because now you're not in person. You're not there having meetings one-on-one with your teams. Excuse me. But your leadership is not just sitting in an office anyway. You know, it's all about influencing those around you, influencing everybody. But you got to grab attention now from everybody in the metaverse. So you're not just, you can't see everybody sitting there looking at you. Not everybody's going to have their camera on. Not everybody's going to do all that. And it's more about connection. You know, it's leading your teams and influencing across all areas. So you're not just with your team with you there. Now you're everywhere. So it's different time zones, different perspectives, different personalities. Everything's completely different. So with me, the energy is different. So you really got to demand your presence there, but it's still leading the same way. I still feel like you got to command the area, but then you got to know your area. You got to know your boardrooms. You got to know your whole area of expertise. And presence is big and value, but you got to be authentic and you got to be visible. And being visible can be in many different ways. And today I see the biggest thing is people get on camera and their lighting, you can't see their lighting. Their lighting, you can't see their face. You can't hear them very well. They're not speaking towards the camera. They're looking away from stuff. They're not talking to the audience. They're always like looking away or looking down, and it's very distracting. That's not leading very good. You need to make sure everything is on key when you're in these rooms, because the visibility is everything, and you got to be authentic. So many people today, they're faking it till they make it. They're not themselves. They're reading scripts. Which is reading scripts is fine, but you also got to lead with authenticity, because if you don't, it's noticeable. People see this stuff and people are going to respect you or not respect you, or you're going to demand that attention. Like I said, you got to get people pulled in. You have to be authentic to yourself. You have to be authentic all the way around, because if you're not, then it's noticeable. And you got to be able to adapt, which I'm starting to do now with this, adapting to the new technology, adapting to everything being digital. It's a different world. It's completely different, but you better get used to it or it'll pass you up. And a big thing is having everybody come in together on time and coming in with a mission, or, having everybody on the same page is a big thing to do. You can't all be on these different areas and different topics and everybody's interrupting. You have to just demand that presence again, but know your room. That's a big thing. Know your room, know your people. And that is the biggest thing. But like I said, a lot of the things are being ready, being prepared, pulling everybody together, not being late. All these things add up and all come together. But in the digital world, it's completely different. I'm used to, going to a team in person, talking to them, leading them, giving them stuff. It's so much different world, but it's going to be a better world. It's going to be easier to get to. It makes it easier in some ways, but if you're not used to it, it can make it hard. So that's the biggest thing in that. A lot of things have changed, but it's like I said, it's going to change. It's going to keep changing, and you better get used to it, because that's the world we live in now. Other than that, leadership, like I said, you have to lead with authority. That's the biggest thing. Confidence. You have to also, the biggest thing I notice with leadership is, and I see it all the time, is if you need to speak to somebody or you want to talk to somebody and you want to do it in a way professionally, you want to speak to them separately. You don't want to go at them and say, hey, in front of everybody and start talking to them. That's just not the way to do it. It's the worst way to do it. You don't want to do that. And a lot of people do it these days. They talk to somebody in front of them, they'll call them out in front of somebody, or they'll chat to them, but they'll chat to them in front of everybody, where everybody can read the chat. And that's not leading. People need to stop doing that, because I see it a lot. People call out people, they'll message people in front of everybody. And you need to realize when you're in a metaverse, it's not the same. People can see what you're saying. So don't say it in front of people. Don't step up. Don't call people out. And be prepared with your notes. Be prepared with everything. Don't read your notes like this. It's the biggest thing is it's distracting. And I'll be on a lot of summits or be in just networking, and everybody does it. And it's crazy that these people are supposed to be in charge of these summits and they don't even know that they're doing it. Or maybe they do know that they're doing it, but they just don't care. I don't know. But it's very distracting for people and not very professional. So if you're going to lead, you have to lead differently. If you lead in your business every day at your job, and you're also doing Metaverse, you have to know the difference. You have to distinguish the difference. There's a huge difference. So you got to lead in two different areas. If you're going to lead in the Metaverse, lead in the Metaverse the way you lead in the Metaverse, but pull what you pull in real life to it. You don't have to be fake it till you make it person, but you still got to do it differently, but still lead with authenticity. Because if you're not authentic, like I said, it's noticeable and people notice it, and they will be distracted so easy. And then when you're in these metaverses and if you're doing anything, make people keep their cameras on. That's a huge thing that I see. People don't have their cameras on. Make them turn their cameras on, because if you're in it and you don't have a camera on, that means you're not in it. That means you're doing something else. You're being distracted. You're not paying attention is the biggest thing. And why that there's no reason their camera shouldn't be on. So make people get their cameras on. Make people step up. They have to, because when they don't, if their camera's not on, they're doing something else, and it's ridiculous. They shouldn't be doing that. They should be doing what they're supposed to be doing. Well, it's about all I have to say about the metaverse and leadership. If you would like to know anything else, at platinummindsetgroup.com, I am Michael Economides.
Thank you, Michael. I appreciate it. Yeah, what I'd offer you to do, if you're listening today live or on the recording, take a look at the scrolling ticker down at the bottom, and you'll see that there's a link to the Platinum Mindset Group. Michael offers a great coaching program, and as you can tell by his presentation, he's a straightforward, straight shooting kind of coach. So if you're looking to really take your business to the next level, if you're looking to help yourself create a brand new type of leadership in the metaverse and even in the realverse, the real universe, take a look at Michael's offering. Again, the Platinum Mindset Group. Thank you, Michael. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Awesome, dude.
Appreciate it.
Well, our next guest is expert Jake Clendenning. He's a distinguished business strategist, an executive coach, and international speaker known for his dynamic and insightful presentations. As the founder of Total Disruption and CT Coaching and Training, Jake has built a reputation for helping leaders and organizations navigate complex challenges and drive meaningful growth. His career spans roles as CEO, realtor, team leader, giving him a broad perspective on leadership and business development. A published best-selling author, Jake is celebrated for weaving together practical business acumen with compelling storytelling, and it makes his presentations both impactful and memorable. So, please welcome today, Jake Clendenning. Jake, welcome.
JB, good morning, man. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. So everybody throw one in the, wherever you're watching, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, main Global Speakers Talk page, throw one in the chat if you thought Michael was absolutely amazing. Crazy passionate dude. Think he's absolutely great. So really, really appreciate that. Everybody throw one in the chat for that. We're talking about the metaverse today. We're talking about how to be a leader in this virtual universe that we're all living in right now. All of us are all across the world right now that we're all having this conversation together. I go back to a time when, welcome back to, I call it, it's COVID. Everybody remembers COVID. It was a thing that happened. The gift that came out of COVID is this right here. We had to get really good, really fast at learning how to connect with each other remotely. We had to get good at it. How do we get good at it? Well, the first thing is we can't be lazy. Michael absolutely said it. And JB said it first thing this morning. He said the tech exists in order to amplify your skill set, to help you grow as a leader. You are a leader. That is who you are. The tech exists to amplify that. And then Michael went on further to talk about, one, it's here. You were going to have to get used to that. And that's absolutely true. He's 100% accurate. The other pieces is we've got to be authentic. We've got to be authentic. We have to be who we are. Now, where I want to go with this in this visibility space, and he's right, keep your cameras on, man. It makes it easier for you to connect with each other. Because as human beings, right, we crave connection. Whether you go out and say, well, I'm an introvert, I don't need that. That's baloney. That's a lie. As a human being, not a human doing, as a human being, we crave that connection in some way. There's a commercial lately that I've been laughing about. It's been out for a little bit, so everybody knows who the little Geico gecko is, and you guys have seen this before. And I'm not sponsored by Geico. I'm just referencing this. He has a commercial and he says, the real secret is eye contact. And he gets real close to the camera and looks and he goes, you and I just had a moment. It's hilarious because it's true. It's still relative in the metaverse of being visible. Now, here's the other thing from a leadership skills. And if you were following along for the last couple of weeks, we did a poll that came out on this, and it talked about what are still the critical aspects and the critical things that you need to have as a leader in the metaverse to go. One of the things that we talked about was emotional intelligence. How are we emotionally intelligent? How are we connecting with each other through this virtual platform, through this virtual stage, through this remote. I don't want to say just virtual. Let's call it remote. How do we do that? One of my favorite ways, and as an executive coach, this is all of us on here today know, because we're all coaches, the critical aspect to being an amazing coach. It's one thing, the ability to actively listen. Active listening is a component of emotional intelligence. So how do we do it here? We have to engage. We have to engage. We have to pay attention to what they're saying, and from a perspective of not listening to respond. Like, I'm listening so I can get clarity, so I can ask more questions about what's going on. This is how I connect. And I'm gonna give you a little secret here. There was a book years ago, Rich Litvin and his partner wrote a book called The Prosperous Coach. This particular book and this particular chapter changed the way I do business. In this chapter, and I loved it on Audible. Like, I just love the way that they speak. The one character is very gruff and straightforward and very diligent, and the other guy is very Elizabethan English, the way he speaks. And he said, your business is not about you. And we've all heard that, right? We've all heard your business is not about you. And that's true. And let's take it a step further in that. So this is that exercise in active listening. Okay. From this perspective of, if my business is not about me, and as a leader, it's not about me. It has nothing to do with me as a leader. If I have to come and tell you I'm a leader, am I? Leadership is not about me, and neither is my business. Leadership is about my employees, my partners, my consumers, my customers, my clients. It's about them. Now, here, typically the way we look at this and the way we go about this in business, if I were to ask you, if you get up in the morning, I used to ask this question, and I'll use Michael because he was on before me. So I'm just going to use his name as the reference. And I would say, well, what can I do for Michael today? Inherently, that comes from a servant's heart perspective. True. We've all asked this question. What can I do for Michael today? Here's the flaw in that. That's all about me. That's all about me. It's a selfish question. It's the wrong question. Change that, right? So now if we ask it that way, what can I do for Michael? I have to show up in a certain way. I have to now come up with, ideate, and I have to work through and find out what is it that I know? What's the knowledge? What's the skill set? What's the thing that I've got to do to be able to do that, serve Michael today? That puts all the onus on me. That's all the ownership is on me. So now I've got to think, what book did I read? What conference did I attend? Who did I listen to? What information can I get? Change the initial question. What does Michael need today? What does Michael need today? What does my client need today? What does the consumer need today? What does the audience need to hear today? I have to show up in a very different way because now I'm listening a different way. So when we're talking about active listening, I'm going to give you a couple tips and tricks here on this one. A lot of people are note takers, paper and pencil, right? It is almost impossible for you to be a note taker in that perspective and actively listen and connect. What you're doing is taking notes to come back and connect later, but you're not connecting in the moment. You're not having a conversation. Think about when you're over at a friend's house at any given time, you're in person, you're doing the thing. When you don't have a notebook, you're not sitting there taking notes, when you're having conversations about whatever the thing is. When you're sitting at dinner with your family, you don't have the notebook. You're not taking so that you can connect later. Connect with the people in the space that you are now. Don't take notes. Don't sit there and write while you're doing it. Are you going to miss some stuff? Yep, likely. And yet it may not be the stuff that you needed to connect with anyway. Where you need to connect is you need to be able to connect in the moment to your audience, to your client, to your customer, whoever it is, to your employees, if you're in that leadership space, to your reports, if you will. Active listening means engaging. Here's the other thing that active listening means. not listening to respond. That means while when you ask a question, tell me more about that. And while they're talking about it, you're not formulating your next sentence in your head of what you're going to tell them. If you're working on that in your brain, you're not engaged with them. You're not actively listening. Here's the trick to that. Here's the path. Here's the skill set as a leader. It's questions. It's questions. You have to continue to ask questions. Now, here's a goofy way to practice this. If you've got kids, your partner, whoever it's going to be, if you've never played the question game, it's hysterical, by the way. You should absolutely play it. It's an absolute riot. The first person to make a statement loses. If you want a great example of how to play the question game, go watch some old, Whose Line Is It Anyway? Drew Carey used to host that show, and they play the question game. It's absolutely, play the game. When you practice playing that game, you start to play that in real life to where you're asking questions, but you're asking them from a place of curiosity, from a place of, I'm looking for more clarity. I want to connect with you. I want to learn more about you. So here's another one for you relative to this. There is one word in the human language, only one, that every single person, it's the most important word to them in the English language, human language. Doesn't even matter if that's your first language. One word, common across everything. It's only one. If you know what it is, put it in Facebook. I'm going to give it a half a second here. See if anybody knows. Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. What is the most important word to every single person? No. There's a couple of them that I'm looking at them watching. All right, so we're not going to play Guess What Jake's Thinking anymore. It's your name. It's your name. The most important word to every single person from a connectivity standpoint is your name. When you get on your Zoom calls, your StreamYard calls, your live calls, whatever you're doing, Teams, pick your platform, does not matter. Use people's names. Connect with them in that space. When I'm talking to JB, hey, good morning, JB. It's great to see you. When I'm talking to Michael, you're looking great today. I love the hat, right? We have to connect because that is one way for us to be able to connect. Now, I'm giving you these few kind of skills. They're not new. They're not new. And this is where JB takes it back, and we talked about this in the beginning. The technology is amplifying and making it easier for us to do what we need to do. Your skills are still the same. You have to apply them a little bit differently because you're not going to be in person. So I totally agree with Michael where he's talking about you've got to be on camera. You got to show up. You got to be visible. Why? Geico Gecko says it's eye contact. I think somebody said it before that, but it's true. Eye contact is a piece. Listening to the tonality in the people's voice so that you can connect with them. I'm going to leave you with this one. There is and I know we're already running way ahead this morning for JB, so I can answer any questions that we have, but let's finish summing up real quick. Eye contact, active listening. We have to participate and listen, right? And that doesn't mean taking notes. That doesn't mean picking up your cell phone and checking emails or doing anything else. It means being engaged. That means being right here. That's what that means. We've got to stay engaged with that, and we got to practice it. We absolutely have to practice it all the time. If we're not doing that now, we're not going to be in person, and it's important to be on camera because we have to be able to see body language. We have to be able to see skin tone. This comes from neurolinguistics programming stuff, and this is old school language of sales, but it's still true. We have to hear their voice tonality. What's going on with that? Now, here's the one that I use in my coaching practice, and I've used this for the last 10 years, and every one of my coaching clients can tell you that this is true. I start every conversation with a single question, same question every time. And I've asked this question at least 10,000 times. What are you grateful for? There's two reasons that I ask this question in the beginning of the meeting. The first is, it is impossible to be grumpy and grateful in the same space. It's impossible. You can't do it. Neuroscience will not allow you to be grumpy and grateful in the same space. The second is it's a litmus test because I now get to listen and watch as they're answering the question. And over time, Doesn't take that long, usually 3 or 4 times. They develop a pattern in how they're going to answer that question. Michael, tell me what you're grateful for today. I'm grateful for my family today. Next week, I'm grateful for my family today. Third week, I knew you were going to ask me that question. What did we observe? Something was different. Something changed. Tonality in the voice changed. Where he looked changed. How the length of time they responded. When you have a marker, you can start to pay attention to how your people are engaging. And now you need to go a different direction. And if massive change did not affect it, if I'm in a call with him and he goes, oh man, I knew you were going to ask me that. I got to think about this. And you just march on with your protocol of what you're going to do, you're not connecting with them. You're not leading in that space. So again, where JB talked about, this is amplification of your skills. This is a +1 to everything that you do. And think about the gift that it is. Does it take more work? Yes. But think about the gift that it is. Once upon a time, we were 7 levels of delineation between each other. You had to know 7 different layers of people to be able to find everybody on earth. Right now, we're 1 layer of delineation apart. You literally know through one person that because of the size of your metaverse, everybody on the planet, and you have the ability to reach everybody on the planet, share your message with everybody on the planet. How cool is that? That is a gift to be able to do. Practice to play the gift. Practice to play. That's what I will tell you in that. So my name is Dr. Jake Clendenning. You can reach out to me at www.total-disruption.com. We'd love for you to come and watch our TV show. We've got a couple of great TV shows. Listen to our podcast. Come to our conferences. Apply to be a speaker. All the stuff and all the things. Like the worst thing that I could tell you is find us on Facebook, find us on LinkedIn, follow us, like, subscribe, go watch the YouTube channel. I would love for you to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Doesn't cost you anything. You just get quality content. And here's the promise that I'll make you. When you show up in our universe, in our metaverse, we're going to engage with you as people, because we're all still people. And that's the importance of doing it. My name is Dr. Jake Clendenning. I appreciate you guys having the time today. And JB, I really appreciate all that you're doing for all of us, man.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Jake. I really appreciate it. Everybody, first of all, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, Dr. Jake. Your messages are really, really important for people to understand. These aren't little tactics that you're coming up with. These are tried, true fundamentals of human interaction that have been going on for centuries, that we now need to be able to master these in today's metaverse environment. You can actually, I feel you. And we don't have to be in the same room. That's the beautiful part about what we're talking about. So everybody, I would strongly recommend, take a look, totaldisruption.com. You can see it scrolling down there. I went to his website and dude, I'm signing up myself. So you'll see me in your environment relatively soon. Everybody, thank you so much, Dr. Jake. I really appreciate it.
JB, have an amazing day. Thank you.
All righty. Well, I'm so totally stoked and fired up. But next, I'd like to introduce John Taylor McIntyre. John is a visionary leadership architect who's revolutionizing how global teams connect and succeed. As a mastermind behind the Sync method, John brings 35 years of transformative experience from the innovation hubs of Silicon Valley, and I have reached there because I'm from Silicon Valley too, to the cultural crossroads of Tokyo and Doha. His mission? Turning cultural barriers into bridges for breakthrough performance. As the founder and chief empowerment officer of Mutual Prosperity, John has crafted the Sync method from the ground up, a powerful fusion of Eastern wisdom and Western innovation. But this isn't just a framework, it's a transformative journey that turns scattered teams into synchronized powerhouses. And I can tell you, having worked internationally, that this framework is just killer. It's awesome. So, in his electrifying talk, Breaking the Curse of Babel, John shatters the myths about cross-cultural communication. He draws from real-world victories and hard-won insights. and he reveals the secret sauce that turns communication chaos into crystal clear understanding. So please welcome today, John Taylor McIntyre. John, welcome.
Well, thank you, JB. What an exciting topic, and it's so great to be here. I'm honored to be on the 51st Global Live Speaker Summit. And today, we're not just imagining the future of leadership, we're really building it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's been incredible to learn from all the speakers today, each one bringing a unique lens to what the metaverse might become. Now, some people think that the metaverse is the next frontier of commerce, others as the reinvention of education, and others still as the rebirth of human creativity and connectivity. But every voice matters because, leadership in the metaverse is not written by one person, one company, one platform or country. It will be co-created by all of us, starting here, starting now. So today, I'm going to add one more vital piece to the conversation, and that's the exciting topic of alignment. Because the metaverse doesn't demand innovation, it demands synchronization. It demands that we break what I call the curse of Babel 2.0. So in many of my leadership sessions, I speak about breaking the curse of Babel. So what is the curse of Babel? Well, it's an ancient story, but it's one that's repeating itself today. People are unified by language and purpose. They were building a tower reaching toward the heavens, and they had momentum, progress, and vision until pride fractured their unity. So their language split and understanding collapsed, and with it, their greatest ambitions crumbled into confusion. That tower didn't get finished. So when language falls, purpose fractures. When purpose fractures, progress halts. And today, Babel shows up in every day inside modern organizations. We have to think about this in regards to marketing speaks in emotions. It's brand stories, perceptions, experiences. And then finance in the organization speaks in forecasts, margins, and bottom lines. IT speaks in code, security protocols, and systems. And HR speaks in compliance, humanity, culture, and preservation. Sales speaks in urgency, opportunity, and quota. So each department, each division, they're broadcasting on their own channel, assuming everyone is tuned in to their vernacular, to their lingo. But in reality, we're really often talking past each other. So even with all the advantages of the physical world, a shared space, casual conversations in the hall, coffee breaks, communication still breaks down, and it derails projects, fractures teams, and buries innovation. Think about it. A critical product launch delayed because engineering and marketing never aligned on a timeline. A strategic pivot fails because finance risks models, they clashed with leadership markets instincts. A high potential employee leaves not because of salary, but because their voice was lost in translation between departments. They felt like they weren't involved with the organization. They felt that they lost the ability to buy into that organization. So these breakdowns, they happen every day. So in the real world, with all our human senses intact, that stuff happens. And now imagine stepping into a space where those basic anchors are stripped away. Now, the metaverse is not just Zoom with avatars. It's a living, shifting, borderless environment. And this is where identity is customizable, context is fluid, cultural norms don't just differ, they collide, and emotional nuance gets filtered through servers, algorithms, and code. In the physical world, a slight hesitation before speaking shows thoughtfulness. Eye contact signals engagement. A smile disarms tension. But in the metaverse, A pause might be a lag. A smile might be an automated animation. A nod might be programmed or absent altogether. In the real world, presence is physical. In the metaverse, presence must be intentional. Imagine this. You're leading a virtual global team. You log into a digital conference room. One person shows up as a humanoid wolf, another a sleek silver robot, a third a traditional avatar in a suit. Someone cracks a joke referencing a local meme. Half the room laughs, half the room looks confused, and a few are slightly offended. So you press forward assuming engagement, but under the surface, a disconnection is already forming, not because people are resistant, but because people are misaligned. Communication in the metaverse doesn't just face old obstacles, it faces amplified ones. Every signal must travel through multiple layers. Personal interpretation, cultural translation, platform mediation, and algorithmic moderation. Latency isn't just technical, it becomes emotional. So when you lose those shared social norms, the natural tone and body language, and you trust is built simply by proximity, you lose the hidden foundation that relationships quietly rest upon. And I totally agree with what JB was talking about and what Jay was talking about in regards to, all the different aspects of what goes on in the metaverse and how we need to make it humanized. So we lose that hidden foundation that relationships quietly rest upon. The metaverse won't erase cultural differences. It exposes it and magnifies it. And here's the critical truth. Speed without understanding is not progress. It's a potential collision. Without intentional alignment, the metaverse risks becoming a digital Tower of Babel, collapsing not from lack of innovation, but from lack of connection. That's why I developed the SYNC method. That's SYNC. It's a leadership framework designed for the complexities of our borderless, fast-moving future. And SYNC, SYNC, stands for Synchronize Yourself Naturally Within Your Community. And I'm going to go through each one of these, this acronym specifically. So synchronize is creating deep clarity across strategy, language, and expectations. The yourself part is really personalizing this activity. It's lead with authenticity, not performance. In a world of avatars, potentially, authenticity becomes magnetic. Now, N is naturalize. And what happens with naturalize is making rapid adaptation a norm, not a crisis. We need to expect change and flow with it. Communitize is how we build intentional ecosystems of belonging where everyone feels connected, not just included. Sync isn't a theory. It's a leadership operating system designed for high trust environments, whether physical, digital, or immersive. So how do we lead differently in this new frontier? Here's the roadmap. Number one, we need to build shared language early. So we create digital glossaries, define emotional norms. Two, curate meaningful rituals. And these rituals are, having virtual gratitude circles, storytelling sessions. We need to have celebrations across the different cultures that are in our group. Number three, we need to lead with radical curiosity. It's asking questions before assuming any understanding. Making sure that we're all on the same page is so important. Number four, we anchor every project to a purpose. Purpose must be louder than the platform. Number five, emotional resonance, not just output. So this comes from trust, engagement, and belonging. And this is where these are now our new performance indicators. Because in a world without natural gravity, belonging becomes the gravity. Today, it was my honor to step into this conversation, not just to explore new technologies, but to call us back to an ancient truth. Leadership is still human. Connection is still sacred. Belonging is still transformative. The future will belong not to those who master code, but to those who master connection. The greatest architects of the metaverse won't be those who build the tallest towers. They'll be those who build the deepest trust, those who build the bridges. Let's not rebuild Babel. Let's build belonging. Let's build these bridges. Let's sync. Thank you very much.
John, that was amazing. I'm going to have to go back and listen to this like 3 or 4 times. There were so many different points that were absolutely critical for people to understand in taking leadership to the next level. Again, standard is not the right word. I think probably the right word would be there are norms for people when they're face to face, but there's also different layers as you've identified them. And when you understand those layers, you can actually reach and connect. And there's I think one of the key points that I thought was really critical was the distinction between inclusiveness and connection. Those are 2 different concepts. And unless you understand all of the different layers and flavors that John has actually identified for us, you can't get to that connection. And you can do it in the digital world, you can do it in the immersive world, and you can do it in the real world, but you've got to follow those different layers. So, John, thank you so much. I really appreciate your presence, your thoughts, your wisdom, and your expertise. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much, JD.
Yeah, you take care. Well, our next speaker is Herrera Kanieva. She's a dynamic catalyst revolutionizing women's business leadership. She's a masterful coach, a compelling speaker, and innovative brand strategist. She harnesses the untapped potential of feminine power, wellness, and natural energy alignment to create extraordinary transformations. Her approach seamlessly weaves together cutting-edge psychology, powerful energy work, and proven business technologies, empowering women to achieve remarkable success while maintaining deep authenticity. As Vice President of Alliances at NABO NYC, Herrera stands at the forefront of a movement orchestrating powerful collaborations that reshape the business landscape. Her clients don't just achieve their business goals, they discover a whole new way of leading that feels natural, energizing, and profoundly fulfilling. So please welcome Herrera Kanieva. Herrera, welcome.
Hello, hi. Thank you, JB, for such an amazing introduction. And I feel so lucky to speak after such an amazing speakers, and I feel so energized after listening all these amazing messages. So yes, my name is Herrera Kanieva, and I'm very passionate about bringing people's full potential into their lives. And ironically, Metaverse became my best tool to do this. Because if you remember, especially I think during the COVID times, like other speakers already mentioned, Metaverse became much bigger, much stronger. Even these webinar rooms became very popular. Zoom meetings became very popular. And what I noticed that a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of professionals, they started feeling like they can hide behind the cameras, behind those images, behind anything like avatars, behind AI tools that they could create. But the thing is that you can't really hide anywhere, and you cannot you're still, even if we use in the metaverse, right, we still person, we still lead with our energy, we still lead with our personalities. So metaverse becomes, I mean, our personalities, our authenticity becomes even more important in Metaverse than actually it used to be like in person life. And I will talk a little bit more why it is and why I'm actually so excited about it. So number one, of course, when we cannot hide and we live in this technology world, what happens? And number one, and I think it actually happened also in person life, but in tech life, in metaverse, it brings even more stress to a lot of people that actually eats up all your confidence and brings so much anxiety that of course your power hides away from some I don't know, somewhere on the floor, and you cannot even lead. And number one, of course, it's these tech glitches that happen, like it happened to me today, that I have to be on with a little bit different background. But because I've been speaking for a long time, I've seen many different things that happen to me. I'm like, okay, it's fine. The most important part is to bring your best self without compromising the energy, without compromising the message that I want to bring today. So this number one thing is, of course, is confidence under pressure, because it is what it is. We all people, we all human beings living in this tech digital world, and things happen, and it's okay. Things happen. The thing is that when we allow certain things to overpower our lives, our messages, what happens is our quality of the message, our energy, our knowledge, our skills, we cannot bring it to the people, to our audience, to our clients, and to our teams if we work in teams, if we have companies. We just became overwhelmed with certain things that are not even that important. Of course, for beautiful pictures, which I'm also about beauty, I'm also a jewelry designer and personal branding strategist, it matters to me, but sometimes we're still human beings and things happen, and that's okay. The important part is not allowing these things to hide your power, to hide your confidence, to hide all your best strength, all your best qualities that you can actually bring to your audiences, to the people as well. And I'm sure uh, that probably happened a lot, but again, we're human beings, things happen. Confidence is something that comes within us and it just shines, and let it shine. Allow it to shine regardless of what is happening around in your real life or maybe even in our digital lives. And second point that I also want to point out, that a lot of people think that I don't know if you have a business, if you're a professional, you're working in your career, it depends what you're doing. But right now, we live in a modern world where actually a lot of things are already done and a lot of strategies are already implemented. And like other people, speakers already also pointed out that yes, um, there are so many things already in the world, they exist, and sometimes it's hard to stand out. Sometimes it's hard to do something that is will make you a little different. And I want to show and I want to tell this story because people start what I've seen in the digital world. Trends become so important. People try to feel and to follow all these trends that make them actually not stand out. They don't make them visible. They just make them be in the same line with everybody else. And some people might say it's like, or maybe I don't have the skills, maybe I don't have the strength, or maybe I don't have something else. So I have to do it. And I want to tell you this story that happened to me recently, and it actually it happened to me in personal, in life, in person, in our physical world, in our everyday life, kind of. But I thought of it as how to use it and how to implement it also in our digital world. So I also played an orchestra for 7 years, and I love live music. I love watching orchestras. So I went to Carnegie Hall. I'm based in New York right now, so I went to Carnegie Hall. What happened was something different happened there. There was an orchestra with three different conductors. So three different conductors, the same orchestra. And I was like, okay, this is very interesting. Well, was amazing to watch and hear and feel for me that you all three conductors played completely different pieces. All three of them had completely different styles. They stand out completely. You cannot put them in the same row saying like, oh, this is a classical music conductor. No, these are completely different strategies. But the orchestra was the same. So what means is to me how I actually started using this in the digital world, and how I started also teaching my clients to stand out and to bring this power into the world and bring this creativity into the world as well. Because when you, like, the conductors is your style, but the orchestra is the world that we live in. For example, if you have a outsourcing company, if you have a marketing company, if you're a coach, if you have a career in finance and in tech, it doesn't matter what you do because it's already exists. You cannot really change it. There are rules, there are laws that you can follow. You can't really change it, but what you can change is your approach, how you use it. So that's how this um, in-person experience became such an amazing experience for me, and such a mind-blowing thing how I could use it and how I can actually share this message that authenticity is more important than trends. Being authentic, bringing out your creativity, your creative vision, makes you stand out. And that's how, when again, people think that they can hide, people think that they could use all these AI tools and technology, and these tools can make everything for people. Like, you don't have to be super creative, for example. But how, with your creativity and using the digital world's skills, tools, all the tech, all the AI things, how this can actually amplify your vision, make you stand out, and how it actually ignites your creativity, ignites your power in this world where everything really everything possible. I want to say impossible. Everything is possible. Like even right now, we probably stay in the completely different places, in completely different time zones, in completely we probably speak completely different languages. Some people, I speak several languages. So this metaverse allows us to bring so much more, to reach people where we could probably wouldn't be able to reach physically. Like we could not, all our speakers today could not speak in the same time, like right now, and reach the whole world. It wouldn't be possible. So all these tools, they become such an amazing transformator, such an amazing tool to bring our best selves. And also with tech tools, they can help us to create such an amazing things that we can probably we wouldn't be able to imagine before. Because in personal life, when we speak in person, sometimes it's more difficult to create these experiences. But in metaverse, in our, for example, even social media, in our courses that we do online, it's amazing how we can implement all of this with this new metaverse, and how we can become better leaders, how we can actually be a full potential leaders, because we can reach so much more, we can empower so much more people, which comes to our energy, which comes to our inner world, inner power that can not be hidden, which a lot of people, again, like I notice people think that they can hide. People think that they can follow all this algorithm. They think that they can use all these tool, maybe not the tools, but the rules of social media, the rules of marketing, even how to stand out, how to get more views, how to promote themselves and their businesses to empower more people and help more people, and maybe better their careers, elevate their companies. But with people that probably sometimes don't realize that, again, we're still people, and our energy is very strong. And what I've noticed from my experience and from my clients' experiences that technology actually cannot resist our personal energy. And again, I have such an amazing story. When I was, not I was, I still am a person who is like, I need proof or energy, or I cannot see it, I cannot touch it. Uh, I need proof. I need to see how everything works. I need to see how your energy can do something in tech world, which I thought, especially I'm doing a lot of social media stuff. So I'm like, how like your energy can do something with technology because it's technology. There are algorithm there, uh, codes, it's coding, it's a lot of engineering there. How your energy can even influence that part. And as it says, uh, ask and you will be answered. So yes, I got an answer. When I started working on my energy because I wanted to see how that actually is going to work for me, I started working on my energy. I started working on my visibility energy on social media because it's for me it's easier to be in person. When I walk into the room, it's easy to stand out with the energy. And I thought, okay, that's fine. But how to do it on social media, on virtual world where there's so many things and sometimes you cannot be there with your body. It's only either picture, it's either part of your hand if I make jewelry. Sometimes it's something that is not the same as a real world in person. So I started working and playing with it, and what I've noticed that it's actually works. My views went 4 times up in a week after starting doing without doing anything different, without doing anything like I didn't post more. I didn't do anything extra. I just worked with my energy and my views started going up. My likes started going up. But another thing, what happens, I had sent a message on Instagram many years ago to a person that I wanted to connect. And for some reason, somehow, even Instagram sent this message instead of being somewhere like years ago in requested messages. It placed my message into her inbox that week. Magic, I don't know, you can call it whatever you want, but we, all of us, have this inner power that can be, and it is very important in Metaverse. It's even more important than in regular in-person life because Metaverse has so many tools that we can use, so many ways that we can be creative, so many qualities that we can actually implement. And that's how I love using and working in Metaverse and leadership in Metaverse. It's a completely different world. It actually pushes us to be more authentic. It pushes us to actually work on our strong qualities instead of hiding them somewhere. It actually pushes us to be even more creative, to be more um, shine more, to be more ourselves actually, because again, we have tools and we we can approach and we can reach the whole world. And I think this is the real life and this is the real opportunity to live to our full potential. And Metaverse gives us this resource because in person, again, it's a little more difficult to do it, but Metaverse gives us this resource, gives us this gift, so we can live through our messages, through our talents, and actually be the best and bring the best of ourselves so people also can be the best themselves. So leadership, Metaverse, my best thing. So live up to your full potential, work and focus on your strength, and of course, inner power and your energy. And today I'm giving a straight free strategy call to everyone who maybe heard something, who was my message was resonating with someone. You're welcome to reach me at Irina Kanayeva Studio on Instagram, especially. I love Instagram or any LinkedIn, also Irina Kanayeva for stress strategy calls, and we can see how you can actually implement, how you can be even better, how you can live your full potential in your life, in your business, anywhere you can be. Thank you so much for being here, and I guess I'll connect with you in my DMs and in Metaverse.
Thank you, Irina. Wow. lot of great stories, a lot of wonderful experiences, and really pearls of wisdom that I strongly recommend you take advantage of what Irina has been talking about. Many of the concepts that she's talked about are fundamental principles of communication and connection outside of the metaverse. But when you can really expound on them and apply them inside the metaverse in digital worlds, you become a person that people are attracted to. At least the right people that you want to talk to will be attracted to you. And that's the most important part. So anyway, Irina, thank you very much. I really appreciate all your words of wisdom. Looking forward to having you come back in a little while.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So our next speaker is Noelle Powers. Noelle is a global award-winning business coach, Who's Who honoree, author, and sought-after speaker on vision-driven profit. As the founder of N Factor Coaching, she helps entrepreneurs and business leaders transform from operators into visionary leaders who build legacy brands and drive industry-leading success. So she draws on 2 decades of experience, and Noelle has developed a framework that helps clients clarify their vision, cultivate the charisma of top industry founders, and weave purpose into every aspect of their business. Her approach adapts strategies from iconic leaders like Steve Jobs, Jeff Bezos, Oprah Winfrey, showing how a compelling vision can transform companies into beloved, profitable brands. She and I can have a good conversation because I worked with Steve Jobs many years ago.
Wonderful.
She's recognized with the Korea Global Award and Brains 500 Global Award for her contributions to business leadership and branding. And she continues to innovate through her best-selling vision-driven profit book series, acclaimed workshops, and a 12-week shakedown program. She empowers entrepreneurs to lead with clarity, inspire high-performance teams, and create positive change. So please welcome Noelle Powers. Noelle, welcome.
Thank you, JB. It's so great to be here. I have to tell you, I am on fire. 5 years ago, I started my own coaching brand, and I remember 20 years back, we didn't have what we have today. Today, I want to start with a quote by the Greek philosopher Archimedes. He said, "Give me a place to stand and a lever long enough, and I can move the world." Today's topic is the 3 steps to build an online community with the $1 million brand method. Specifically, I'm talking about how to create a 7-figure brand as an entrepreneur or a top expert in 3 steps. And in order to create the $1 million brand method, I pulled and interviewed 3,000 entrepreneurs and experts who went from making salary money with their business and their brands to making 7 figures in a space between 1 and 3 years. Let's talk about this. There are 3 steps, but before you understand what they are and how they work, you need to understand one thing. It's the mind of the consumer and how it has changed. 30 years ago, if you wanted to share your idea, your product, your service, your vision, you had to have millions of dollars and go through media or the government or a large news channel. Your power to lead and inspire and influence people was based on $1 million capital. It's not that way today. My favorite thing to do is challenge my clients to take $1,000 and make 1 million on Meta through online Facebook groups. So let's go over this, the mind of the consumer. There are 4 billion consumers on Facebook every month, and half of them are in online communities. These are Facebook groups. Imagine this. If you understand the secret of how your consumer acts in Facebook groups, you have a direct connection with your ideal client who you can convert. So think about this. The mind of the consumer has changed. They 70% of consumers trust you as an individual over a company or that polished newscaster. If you think about the 70% of consumers, they want your face. So today, the big question is, people don't just want your product or service. They're looking for your vision and leadership. Where can they find you? And I'm going to answer this question with these 3 steps to building your brand, leading online communities. First step is to clarify who your brand is for. A brand is a visceral connection between real people. Ask yourself the following questions. Who is the one person you want to serve? What is the one impact you want to make on their life or business? Stretch your mind out 10 or 20 years. What does their ideal life look like? How would you describe it? The more clear you are, the more powerful your brand is. And again, to go back to Steve Jobs of Apple and Oprah Winfrey, their brands always started with 10 people. They understood these people's desires better than anyone in the world. So your first step is always to ask your customers the one thing they really want in their life, and make sure you are showing up in a way where you represent the change that they really want. Step 2 to creating $1 million brand in as little as 1 year, leading online Facebook groups. Decide what group you need to open and lead that would attract that one person to your brand. So again, it's not saying, how do I raise $1 million? This is not, how do you get 1 million likes on your page? Those things are a distraction. It's so easy to focus on the things you don't have. What you can do today is you can research groups that your ideal customer is already in, and you can create your own online community. So step number 2, decide what community would attract your ideal customer. Step number 3 is focus your content on your community members. What do they want? What is preventing them from buying from you? What is the content you can create this week that would crush all of their objectives to buying? What is it you can pull them, you can ask them directly? So not only do you not need $1 million to advertise to people, you also don't need money to do research. And content is the most powerful marketing inside your Facebook group, because this is direct interaction with someone who is very likely to buy. So we've just eliminated the barriers to getting your ideal client. Now you can build a community full of people who can become lifelong clients. So we're talking today about the shift. The mind of the consumer has shifted. So the mind of you as a visionary, as a leader of a top brand, it needs to shift too, so that the mindset here of the consumer and yours, they lock together. And this is where Metaverse is the most outstanding opportunity for us as experts and entrepreneurs. Now let's talk about a phenomenon of how it actually works to become a leader and have a brand, and what the difference is between selling and using content in your community to convert people to your philosophy. Entrepreneur number 1, they're a top personal trainer. They totally understand their business. They know how to get people from point A to point B with results. But this person is on Facebook. They have a page and they are sending DMs to people nonstop. Hey, I bet you want to do this. Let's jump on a call. Let's do this. When you sell to strangers on social media, it is called spam. So instead of building the power of your brand and attracting people to your vision, you are driving them away because you don't understand the way they think. Most of my clients are selling high ticket items. It's a high trust. Let's say you sell insurance or you're a personal trainer. You have to get people to trust you and share their personal information, whether it's financial or what the scale says or how they really feel about something that's important to them. You will shut them down permanently with spam. So stop selling to strangers. So that first person is spamming people. But they say, I'm on social media. This is how people talk to each other. Versus, let's say, personal trainer B. This person has decided to observe their ideal client, to see what makes them interested in their expertise, what kind of content. And so he goes on to a Facebook group where other people are interested in health and fitness, and he observes how the host is leading this group, the content they're using, the language that they're using. He's watching what people are responding to. He's watching the language that these customers are using to describe what they think their problem is, what they think the solution is, and why they like being in this group. And personal trainer B goes and opens a Facebook group for his community of current clients and people who were prospective clients who never converted. And he is now inviting people from other online communities who have the interest in what he does. And again, going back to the stats on Facebook, there are 4 billion consumers. Half of them are in Facebook groups. And a majority of them, if they are in a group, they're in 5 or 6 groups. And they are spending an average of an hour in these groups every week. Now think about this. If you're on your Facebook page, it's hard to get people to watch a video for 2 seconds. And suddenly inside your Facebook group, they are willing to hang out in there for an hour and consume your content. That's powerful. That is a huge shift. And again, it is free. It is free to observe your ideal client. It is free to ask them questions. It is free to ask them, what is it you want right now? What is the number one struggle that is preventing you from getting the results that you want? This is direct. And let's talk about the most powerful shift in your authority as an expert, as an entrepreneur, and as a visionary brand leader. And that is the way your ideal customer sees you. It is their perception. When you try to sell to strangers, you are a spammer. It doesn't matter. X, 0, nothing. Turn off the light switch. You are a spammer, and you are decreasing your brand power and your ability to make that impact and profit. Number 2 is, let's say, peer level. Let's say you're on LinkedIn and you're sending some articles to people who are in similar professions, and over months or years, you develop this peer relationship with people, and you can develop that into referrals and into customers. But what we are aiming for today is for you to become the chief of the tribe of your brand. And this is what the visionary founders of every top brand in the world, this is what they do. Steve Jobs, Harley Davidson, Oprah Winfrey, the founder of Spanx, Sarah Blakely, is they ask themselves, how do I go from being interchangeable to indispensable in the eyes of my customer? And when you create an online community, you are giving your tribe, your brand, an address, and you are telling people where to find you. And when you are the leader of this group, you instantly go from being a stranger, from a friend, to being the leader to being the source of information and wisdom and transformation. And this is something you cannot buy. You can have the same amount of expertise, the same amount of dollars, the same amount of followers. None of that matters. What matters is that you become indispensable in the mind of your ideal client. And this is the power, right? This is where you are giving yourself the most powerful place to stand. And this is where you can create the world and change the world and move the world. And next, we're going to talk about why. Why can we do this? It's because the creators of Metaverse and what's driving the whole thing, it is in sync with the mind of the consumer. We want to connect with people. We are hungry for community. We want to connect with people anywhere around the world as a tribe, as a community. Human beings were designed to live in communities of like-minded people who share goals. We seek people with the same vision. We seek people who share our ideals. And as Simon Sinek says in Start With Why, people do not make decisions with their rational mind. Facts and evidence is not how we make decisions. We make decisions with the limbic system of the brain. That is your values, your belief. How do those transmit into the ideal lifestyle you want to live? How does that take you from going away from what you don't want anymore to moving drastically and confidently and enthusiastically toward your ideal life? So let's speak this language of ideals and use Facebook. These groups are a tool, and I'll tell you a couple things about them. Number one, it's a tool for them to win the war against TikTok and other platforms, right? Consumers, we don't care about the news so much anymore, the press. We don't care about the big guys who are only sharing 4 perspectives. They don't want that. They want your perspective. And Facebook understands, because they have one of the original AI algorithms. They understand that they want to reward you for winning the war for them on keeping people's attention. Now imagine this. Your job is to create an online group on Facebook, as an example today, and keep the consumer in your group as long as you can and engage with them, because you are helping the algorithm win against platforms that are fighting for their consumers' attention. So something really powerful to consider in branding is if you help someone bigger or more powerful to win their war, and you can use all of their resources, then your brand power and profitability is going to soar. And let's talk about what this looks like for you. Again, we talked about socially, what's the difference between selling to strangers and having people like your page and doing all this? What's the difference? 1 unit of effort in your Facebook group is worth 10 units outside your Facebook group. As soon as someone joins your group, they are now in a buying behavior. So 80% of these people will consider interacting with you, calling you, getting on your email list, versus 20% who are on your page. And Facebook has amazing tools. So once you've started talking to your ideal client and building a community, the algorithm picks up on who is in that group and how much they're interacting. And ding, 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 instead of you paying for marketing, this marketing apparatus is going to drive your ideal clients into your group. This is amazing. This is a paradigm shift. And I'm all about, if you want to succeed with your brand on Metaverse and lead a brand with vision, with alignment that attracts lifelong customers instantly, that you can start working on selling to today, you have to understand the advantage that you have now. And then not only that, but once you have organically established who the right client is for you and you've gotten them into your group, now we can talk about automation. And this is where we're going to talk about how you can scale your brand to go from having $1,000 budget, taking 1 to 3 years and building $1 million sales funnel. Let's talk about how we can do this with automation. First of all, you never want to automate a system you don't know with people you don't know. That would be reproducing mediocrity. You want to establish excellence in your communication and take this format of who you're talking to, how you're talking to them, their language, that powerful message and symbolism you have. Then you can do paid advertising and you can use automation. Now, I told everyone I'm going to share some really exclusive tips that I only share with my top clients. And that is, there are platforms, these are software systems that can help you automate your leads inside your Facebook community. Let me share an example so you really understand this, right? We have a personal trainer and he used to send 10 DMs per day to invite people to his Facebook group. And he went from making $60,000 per year to making $120,000 per year in his Facebook group, just doing direct contact with people in similar Facebook groups and dialing in that organic conversation that leads to the sale. Now he has some capital and he understands the algorithm. Now he can use a software to automate his lead generation, to send these notices to thousands of people in 1 month, driving people to his sales calls and to his Facebook group. And suddenly you have someone who is capable of making 6 figures with this organic outreach that everyone talks about. But now with technology, because Facebook is so dominant in client creation and in building profitable communities. Now, the next year that I contacted him, he was making 7 figures because the software was developed to automate leads to the community he created to be full of potential, excited, high-paying clients. And he left the world behind of not knowing his income level, of experimenting with posting and doing things. I help entrepreneurs and experts up-level their brand so that they can lead their industry, so that their vision can be interpreted into exact steps that are working right now for real, normal people. It's not enough just to be the expert. You have to know how to use the metaverse, how to lead online communities, how to take what is most important to Meta, what is most important to your ideal client, and do what is most important to build a high profit and high impact brand today. The opportunity is the greatest it has ever been. Again, you used to need $1 million to market to make your first $1,000 in sales. Now you can do the opposite, and I challenge you to do that. I challenge you to take $1,000 and tell yourself, I'm building my $1 million brand today. And I have 3 steps that are proven that have helped 3,000 entrepreneurs that I've studied. I studied with their business coaches. We broke it into steps. The biggest challenge for people when they have a business or an idea is They don't know what to focus on to turn that into a brand that attracts lifelong customers, a brand that is exclusive, that can charge more, a brand that is creating the future in 20 years. If you do not create a brand that leads your market in 20 years, you may have no place in that future. So let's dial all this back in. You want to be the leader of an online community. That is the greatest place to stand, to have the power, to have the social power, to have the technological power, to advance what you want to do the most. Going back to Archimedes, give yourself the most powerful place to stand. You can do it today. You can do it for free. You just need to be clear and committed to that one person and follow those steps. Then I promise you will have the ability to move the world with your brand in the metaverse universe. Again, I'm Coach Noelle Powers. I share the paradigm of vision-driven profit, where I teach you the exact steps from the visionary founders of the top 1% of brands in the world, the most profitable brands that exist, Apple, Amazon, and of course, today's top influencers who are taking $1,000, turning them into multi-million-dollar brands in as little as 1 and 3 years. And I bring you the $1 Million Brand Method. It is 3 steps for you to build a brand just like this, with leading online communities on Facebook and other platforms. So I encourage you, if you want to create the #1 brand in your market this year, that you go onto www.infactorcoaching.com. We will do a free 45-minute strategy call, and we'll talk about the best kind of community for you to build for your brand goals. Thank you.
Wow. Noelle, this is just awesome. I'm already been on the website. So I strongly encourage everybody who's watching live and on recording to take advantage of Noelle's offer, because what she's talking about is so critical. I've been around since the very beginning of social media, and what she's distilled for you in these 3 steps are the keys to being successful. And since this is my 7th different startup company doing different types of things, I'm going to sign up myself. So I can't give anybody a better recommendation than what I'm going to do myself. So thank you very much, Noelle, for being here. I really appreciate your wisdom, your knowledge, your experience. And what I can tell you is, specifically with respect to Steve and what we used to do at Apple, what you're talking about and connecting directly with your audience is the key to everything. It's the fundamental component of building a world-class brand. Because what you're doing with your marketing and what you're doing inside Meta or other tools that you might decide to use is you're speaking directly to the people that you want to have as customers. Great marketing, great outreach is all about a filter to ensure that you are attracting the people that you most likely want to serve. You have a message for them. And you know what? It's a crime if you don't give that to them. This is your gift to the world. So please take advantage of everything that Noelle has described for you. Go down, you see the little ticker down there. Go to nfactorcoaching.com. Take advantage of the offer that she has there and be the best brand. Be the $1 Million brand. And it won't take much effort for you to do. So Noelle, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Well, before we officially close today's summit, there's a couple things that I want to kind of touch bases on, and that's this. We'd like to get all of the speakers to come back and have a little roundtable. We've explored powerful ideas, how technology is reshaping leadership, how Meta and using Meta is really going to potentially affect how you build your brand, how immersive worlds are creating new possibilities, and how human brilliance must remain at the center of it all. But leadership is never just about what we know. It's about how we come together to think, to listen, and to imagine what's possible. And guess what? That's what we're going to do right now. So, in the spirit of collaboration, the speakers are back on screen for us. And we're going to synthesize what we've learned and look ahead with clarity and purpose. So, I'm going to give them a question to guide our discussion. And that question is this: what's one small action every leader can take today, not tomorrow, not next week, not soon, today, to start preparing themselves and their teams for leading in this new virtual hybrid world? So I'm going to invite all the speakers, give you a couple of minutes to talk about what this means and how you can apply it using your methods and systems and strategies, offer your insights and hopes and practical advice for leaders in this world. So what I'd love to do is kind of come back to the top, and let's talk with Coach Michael. Michael, are you back with us, buddy?
I'm here.
I know you've had some technical challenges today. Most people don't even know that was going on, but I will tell you, poor Michael, his computer screen broke. He got kicked off. He couldn't see anything. But you know what? True leadership is about being able to jump over those hurdles and keep on going. So if there's any one example of you being a true leader and seeing somebody, you just saw it today. So Michael, thank you very much, my man.
Yeah, I was in the middle of talking, and boom, my screen goes out. I'm like, well, there goes my talking points. Well, gotta roll with it. Gotta fake it till I make it, even though I don't go by that. But hey, sometimes you gotta implement. But right. I think one of the things you can do is, before you get on a virtual, or before you get into the metaverse, have like a little 15-minute powwow with your team that's going to be along with you, with everybody else being in there. So you can actually talk to them one-on-one and all together as a group, instead of calling them separately during the meeting and all that. Just get it out of the way, a little pre-meeting.
I love that. Okay. So in that pre-meeting, what are you going to get people doing?
Just get all my team be on the same page, make sure that everything's going to flow right, make sure everybody knows what the topic is, talking points, and just make sure everybody's one team, make it all together.
Pulling them in the same direction. So I hear this theme of alignment, right? We talked about that a little bit earlier, is making sure that, you know, you're all pulling, you're all saying this, you have the same vocabulary or a similar one. You share the same values, so you're going to be talking to your clients in a similar way. I love that. That's great. Thank you, Michael. Appreciate it. So, John, tell us, what would you do here?
So, I think there's one thing that we do in our hiring processes that could help leaders in gaining buy-in from their team, and that is that I believe that everybody is a puzzle piece in life, but they're also a puzzle piece in their organization. And the leaders need to be able to look at that person and their puzzle piece and not put them in a little box that they had created for that particular position, but they need to actually add margin around that puzzle piece so that the person can grow into that. And then that's where the buy-in comes in. Once they're able to feel that they're accepted, they're approved, that they're able to shine with their own personality, with all the different things, the elements that bring them about. It helps them, you know, fill that void, but also go past that. And so the dovetailing of all those pieces together comes together in a very cohesive way, and people feel like they're involved, and everybody can really align together.
I love that. That's great. Okay. So there's a practical tip that we can all utilize as well. Thank you, John. Appreciate it. Irina.
Yes, such an amazing question. And we already heard so many great tips here. My approach to leadership is always, we are leading people, so it's always people approach. It's if you're a leader, you're leading either teams, either your clients. So that means it's, to me, to make people's lives better, easier, and how we can do it is be innovative, be creative, finding easier tools, finding smarter tools. So for example, even now, especially with Metaverse, of course, there are so many automation tools, there are so many AI tools that we can easier our some business processes, we can save so much time using those tools. But sometimes some teams, they're still using the hardworking, strategies. Let's do it, work 24/7 to achieve these goals. And I'm like, with metaverse, with digital world, with all the technology, we don't have to do this right now. We can actually, this is probably the best time to have the balance, to have a personal happy life and successful business. And the digital world, all the technology that we have right now allow us to do that. So to me, it's being creative, innovative to make life easier for yourself as a leader and for your team, so you can all become one beautiful organism to elevate the business and the lives of themselves and the people as well. So yes.
I love that. Thank you. When you talk about innovation in the tools and everything, I can absolutely tell you for a fact that that's true. I've been a business coach and mentor for about 35 years after working at Apple and starting my own companies and what have you. And what I'll tell you is after I'd left a coaching engagement and decided that I wanted to take all of the processes that I designed and developed over 35 years and turn them into AI agents. So I recreated 35 years of my processes in about 2 months, and now it's completely scalable, right? So think about that. If it used to take me 3 years to get through a program with a client, I can do that now in 3 months and drive that value to as many potential clients and customers as I can. That's the value of innovation and being able to take your human brilliance and be able to utilize these tools. So, Rena, thank you very much. Boom, nail on the
Thank
head.
you. Yes, you just summarized the whole thing. I love it. Thank you so much, JB.
Okay. Noelle, how about you?
Yes, the advice I would give people to establish leadership in their brand, because I am a brand vision coach, is to go live at the same day and time every week, because you do not just want to be someone who creates content or a voice, but you want to be the channel that your customers know to tune into. So when we talk about building a profitable brand to be good influencers on Meta, we have to understand that because we are replacing things like the news, we're replacing things like the TV guide, the same rules apply to us for consistency. And again, you have to remember that Meta will reward you for helping them win the war that they are fighting with the other platforms. So what you could do today, pick one day and time that you're going to go live every single week and get known for that live, because the algorithm will reward you the most. And then when you are the voice people know to tune into, that's when the competition starts to fade in the background, because you are the most consistent. You're showing up with your advice and your perspective and your encouragement. And at the end of the day, content is food. It's like opening a restaurant. You got to be open at the same day and same times, and you got to know what your customer wants to eat. So if you could do anything today, pick one day and time, and that will radically change your ability to lead and influence people on the platforms.
Ooh, boy, I'll tell you, that's pretty awesome. I had not even considered that. So, and when you've been around the block a couple times, like the way I have, to not follow that step, that one little technique, is mind-blowing.
Yeah, right. Because we always have to ask ourselves, what's the one thing? What is a one thing I could focus on that will make the difference? Because what most people are doing is, when you, going back to Steve Jobs, if you're trying to do 10 things, you're not doing anything.
Right.
You can never have more than 2 or 3 priorities of what you're doing in your brand. So that means that whatever platform you are on, you have to harness the power that that platform created for you for mutual benefit. And I always say, go find someone smarter and richer and more powerful. And for us, our biggest friend is the AI on these platforms. If you understand the game you're playing, you're a lot more likely to win.
I love it. That's great. Oh my. Well, some wonderful wisdom from today's speakers. I just want to again thank you all for being here today. Your knowledge, your experience, these tactics and strategies are really critical for these leaders who are watching us today, as well as in the future. So thank you again for all being here. Now, as we come to close today's Global Speakers Talk Summit, I want to take a moment to reflect just a second on the journey that we've had. Today isn't about technology, innovation, or even the metaverse itself. It's really about something deeper. It's about how we as leaders bridge human connection with the possibilities of digital innovation. We explored skills, we talked about collaboration, we talked about, using the power of groups, we talked about how we can connect with other people. So it's all about that one fundamental component. It's reminding ourselves that at the center of every great transformation is a human heart. It's a curious mind. It's a courageous spirit. And I want to thank and extend my deepest gratitude to our speakers today. Now, if something resonated with you as a listener and a viewer of this program, if a speaker's story inspired you or connected you, opened a new door in your thinking, don't let it stop. Reach out, connect, continue the conversation, implement some of these tactics and strategies that you've heard today. Because guess what? The relationships that you build today are the bridges to the future, and we're all working to create that. So thank you very much for being here today. The future is not a destination we reach. It's really a reality that we build, and we build it together. You've got some great wisdom from the speakers who have been here today. Please reach out to them. Please implement the things that you've heard and read. And remember, be part of the movement. Be part of the impact. Be part of the change. I challenge you to do some of the things that our speakers have talked about today. So until we meet again next month, keep imagining, keep building, and keep leading. Thank you very much.